Welcome into this week's edition of the Triumph Spotlight. After a long wait, it's back and we're talking hoops. Today's guest is Jaden Schutt. The Duke transfer and sophomore guard for Virginia Tech men's basketball leads the squad in three-pointers made and is prepping for a big matchup against the Virginia Cavaliers come this Saturday. So we're talking the Commonwealth Clash and his journey to Blacksburg on this week's edition of the Triumph Spotlight. Today's show is brought to you by Triumph NIL. Triumph NIL is a unique and experienced sports marketing agency specialized in building custom name, image, and likeness partnerships for student athletes with members of the business community and fans. Visit Triumph NIL to learn more and subscribe to support Virginia Tech NIL. All right, I think some introductions are underway. I'm Kyle Marshak, Carter Hill, my co-host, Nick Brown producing, and Jaden Schutt on set. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
I got to get this out of the way first. What a basketball name. How often have you heard that Schutt is the best basketball name ever growing up?
Yeah, pretty often.
I figured as much. So with that being said, it's a pleasure to have you on. And you guys had a big win against Notre Dame over in South Bend, and a close one too. The ability to bounce back for this team, I think that's kind of the main storyline right now. Could you just speak to the tenacity of Virginia Tech men's hoops right now? Yeah,
no, just obviously didn't have a great start at Notre Dame, but just trusting each other and just obviously just staying after it. Got after it at the end. Things started to come together, just trusting in the coach. But yeah, not a pretty start.
How much momentum do you guys feel like you're playing with right now? I mean, like, you go back to the start of the year and now you're 6-7 in ACC play and you're right in the thick of the standings and a lot of winnable games coming up for the Hokies.
Yeah, no, just gaining more confidence as a team. Things are starting to click and honestly just having more fun as a team.
With that being said, the last time you played Virginia, that big contest coming up, you scored a career high 18. Is there something about Virginia, the state of their basketball program right now, the way that they play, that makes you feel comfortable playing against them?
I mean, just being excited to play in that game. Obviously, it's a big game. Being on the road, so just excited to play, and yeah, obviously just going to be aggressive and had a good game there, and just my teammates found me and just got knocked down shots. So yeah, it was a fun game over there.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you got it.
Do you guys think you understood the magnitude of winning in Charlottesville? I mean, Virginia Tech in the past had not won at Virginia very often and hadn't done so since 2018. So to go on the road and win there was big for the program, and I'm sure you guys were able to take that in as a whole.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, hearing obviously Coach hadn't won over there, so knew that was special to him. So the guys just kind of followed in and made it happen, yeah.
So with that being said, under a coach like Mike Young, who took the time to pick you from the portal, a guy who's obviously one of the highest praised coaches in the ACC with the current state of the program and what he's done this year, how does he keep the locker room even keel? Because this contest is big. It's a chance for you guys to go back to 500 in the ACC and a chance to go 2-0 versus UVA. What is the temperament in the locker room right now?
I mean, Coach Young does a great job. Yeah, I mean, we're just ready to play again, kind of just gearing up for the game, going through our scout, and yeah, not really getting too over our heads about it. Just It is another game, but at the same time, knowing the how important it is, and just want to play another game and want to win another game.
To sweep Virginia would be crucial, and everybody knows that. But we were just talking off the air about Castle Coliseum, and you coming as a visitor when you were at Duke. What do you expect from Castle on Saturday, and what could be maybe the best atmosphere it's seen this season?
I mean, hopefully it's rocking, yeah.
So, I mean, simply put, and speaking of a Castle Coliseum rocking, we were talking about it just before we started recording, your first experience with a basketball game in Castle Coliseum when you were a part of the Duke roster back in 2022, and Virginia Tech had a huge upset over Duke, 82-67 back in March. MJ Collins hit kind of a buzzer beater, you could say. Just your reaction to your first experience in Castle.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember I don't think they really prepared us for Castle, I guess. So obviously just showing up, and I wasn't expecting to enter Sandman and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, no, it was quite the experience, and obviously it left a lasting impression on me.
So we were talking about Duke and Virginia Tech, and so correct me if I'm wrong, you played against Tech your freshman year at Cameron for a couple minutes. You were committed to Virginia Tech when, if for those watching on YouTube, you can see the confetti right there in front of the Virginia Tech basketball. That confetti is from when Virginia Tech beat Duke in the ACC tournament final, where you were committed to Duke at the time. Do you remember watching that game? And if so, what do you remember that night?
You know, I remember watching. I was trying to watch all the Duke games that year, and I mean, I just remember Hunter Couture obviously hitting a lot of shots.
Yeah.
And he got hot, and it was fun to watch. But it was a good game.
That's got to be a good pitch for when, just a mere year later, you're thinking about hitting the portal and, watching Virginia Tech win an ACC championship, being familiar with Mike Young's system. How did that process come around in terms of, entering the portal and thinking about going to Blacksburg?
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember my earliest impression, honestly, before I got to Castle, was just the scout team. I was playing the scout team as Hunter Couture, running through all the actions, and I remember just talking to my teammates and like, hey, this would really fit you. And I remember I loved the scout because, I got to shoot a bunch and there's some great action. So I just remember really enjoying that. And so when it came time for the portal, it was an opportunity, and I was familiar with the offense, so it was a perfect fit.
So great segue there. Choosing Virginia Tech in the portal this past offseason, it's no secret there was a lot of turnover on the roster. How much, in a good way, was it a leap of faith to choose Mike Young and Virginia Tech, and how nicely has it worked out for you so far?
Yeah, no, definitely a leap of faith. I mean, I remember not really being familiar with the teammates, but kind of just trusting the coaching staff and kind of trusting the guys that they've recruited.
Yeah, and you wrote about this leap of faith in detail and your entire journey, battling injuries, going from an ESPN top 100 recruit, a Duke guard who battled those injuries, an almost 2-year hiatus from basketball action, and now finally got the opportunity under Mike Young. First of all, you're a great writer. Is this something that you do often? Is it just something that you felt, compelled to do?
I didn't write that. It was like an interview, but someone kind of pieced it together. But
Yeah.
I get a lot of compliments about my writing, which
Yeah.
I wish I was that good of a
So
writer.
whoever wrote it's a great writer.
Well, that's my
It is-
misinterpretation then.
Yeah, my story, but not my writing. But whoever did write or piece it all together did a great job just kind of putting all the details in there.
Well, even just the willingness to tell your story in detail. I mean, for a lot of athletes, they don't want to talk about a torn meniscus and surgeries and stuff like that. So when they approached you about making this story, what was your thought process? Did you feel very compelled to want to tell this story to inspire others?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, when you go through something that you could share and make an impact on other people, I feel like the opportunity was there, and obviously had no problem sharing.
Kyle wrote it down in the script, but he said that in the piece you wrote, quote, at Duke, I played on or the piece that they wrote and you were interviewed for, quote, at Duke, I played on our scout team a lot, so I got to emulate Mike Young's offense, as you just alluded to, and it fit me so well. Was that a part of something that piqued your interest to Virginia Tech? And I guess because you have answered that to some extent, what was your view of Virginia Tech's basketball program from the outside looking in when you were at Duke and maybe even prior to that?
Honestly, prior to that, like growing up in high school, I mean, I'd watch the ACC, and honestly, I didn't really have much knowledge about Virginia Tech at all. Like if you told me we're pinpointed on a map, zero idea. I mean, I'm from the Midwest, but again, I mean, it was a good basketball fit, and obviously love the area, and it's been a good fit. So,
being from the Midwest, does Blacksburg kind of feel like home in a way? Because it's just another dot on the map, unless you, of course, end up in Blacksburg.
Oh, I mean, people are nice here. I'd say people are nice back home, but no, I mean, back home it's cold, it's flat. Here, I like to see the mountains, and it's beautiful out here.
You said you're, what, about an hour and a half southwest of Chicago? South of Chicago?
About an hour southwest, yeah.
How big is Yorkville, Illinois compared to Blacksburg? Is it a smaller town, or is it just more of a bigger area?
I'd say Yorkville is about 30,000, yeah.
Oh, so smaller town. Okay, so okay, I could see that. Being a Midwest guy, again, as Kyle alluded to, it is funny though, like Virginia Tech and Duke, like there have been a lot of pretty big time moments in that history in the past with the ACC tournament, and Hokies have won their fair share of games here in Castle, and the Sweet 16 game where, that Zion team beat them to go to the Elite Eight. And then, I mean, heck, like even before we were probably all 3-4 years old. Like I remember in 2000, was it 6 or 7, Nick, where Virginia Tech was up 1 with like 6. I don't know if you've seen the clip. Virginia Tech was up 1 with like 5 seconds left. Duke was number 1, and they hit like a half-court shot to beat them at the buzzer. So Anyway, not really a question, but a lot of history between Virginia Tech and Duke. So cool to see you here. So
before we kind of wrap things up and talk about the complexion of this season, let's just get to know you a little bit more. Obviously, a very impressive journey between, being a kid from Illinois, the injuries you dealt with, and then Mike Young taking a chance on you. But what do you do away from basketball? What do you do in your free time?
Honestly, not much. It's pretty boring.
You're just a chill guy.
I guess so. Just kind of I just lay in my bed a lot. Just watch shows, I guess. But no, when the season's over, I kind of like to dive into a little more of my hobbies, read books and stuff, go fishing, do a lot more stuff. But during the season, honestly, it's basketball, and kind of just anytime, free time is just trying to find time for school. So yeah, it gets pretty busy.
what books do you like to read typically?
A lot of self-help books, a lot of Jordan Peterson. So, I mean, just trying to find things, little pockets of knowledge, yeah.
Gotcha. I've been reading this one book from Mark Manson where he uses the metaphor of like learning to drive the car that is your mind and stuff like that. And I feel like Peterson's kind of up
for sure.
that lane, if you will. So are there any specific Peterson books that you would recommend for Hokie fans?
Honestly, check them all out. I mean, I enjoy them. So it's one of those books that you can just read a chapter and really kind of just take something to reflect on for the day. So
nice.
I don't typically read, so I can't offer anything. But
and you're a writer.
Well, a little bit, yeah, sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, I don't typically read. But just to kind of pivot back to basketball real fast, something that I asked you about a little bit before we went on air, but what was it like playing at Duke? I mean, obviously everybody around the country views Duke basketball as like, honestly, probably one of the meccas of collegiate basketball and probably sports in general in the U.S. What was it like playing at Duke and kind of dealing with the day-to-day of being with the Blue Devils?
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember walking through the halls a lot, and obviously it was just it was kind of just a surreal feeling of just kind of seeing all the legends on the wall. So it was a lot of times I'd be like, wow, like just really grateful to be there. And but as far as playing, I mean, I think I only played about 80 minutes there, so
sure,
I never really got that kind of full experience. Kind of, freshman year didn't really play much, but I mean, it was just my time there was basically playing a lot of scout team, honestly, just riding the bench and getting a lot of work in. But it was a cool experience. A lot of, I guess, just super fans down there, so they take basketball really serious.
How cool is it to go back on New Year's Eve then, I guess, and play in that environment as a visitor?
Yeah, it was really weird, honestly. I remember going back and not really knowing how that was going to feel or be. Sure. And I remember getting off the bus, and I'm used to, hearing from my buddies that kind of came into town, and they're telling me how they heckle, and it's a terrible experience. I get off the bus, it's pretty quiet, and certain fans would be like, "Hey, miss you." So I'm like, "All right, this is weird." So it's like kind of like killing you with kindness. So going through warm ups and seeing classmates I know and stuff, and they're obviously being super nice. So it was kind of just a weird feeling. So, and obviously we got it wasn't the best result of the game, but yeah. But
the Hokies have responded since, so you learn something every single game. Have you seen the sheet that they give out in the student section where the crazies have like the little sheet where they like have something for each and every member of the visiting team, and they use that to kind of get after you?
Yeah, I've seen this sheet. I've never actually looked at the actual details of what they have in the names.
So I have, but I did not. I actually didn't see it the day y'all went, so hopefully they weren't. But they were nice to you. They were nice to you, so they were nice to you.
Overly nice, yeah.
Probably not too many for other players that you can repeat on air, though. But, Virginia Tech fans can be brutal as well, so.
That's college sports.
Yeah, that's college sports for you. All right, well, I think this is a good segue to kind of, put a bow on things in terms of finding your opportunity. Obviously, Virginia Tech has been that for you. You're having your best, college season so far. And the quote that ended the story of 599 days is that you said, "We're a young team that's still meshing, but there's still so much of our abilities to show the country." What are you guys capable of?
I mean, we got a lot of young guys, so it's, just every single game, kind of just finding something new about the team. And the chemistry is really starting to get there. The offense is starting to flow. Defensively, we're getting a lot better. So, again, it's just starting to get more fun as we just get better, honestly.
Something that the fan base is talking about and honestly is probably the most excited about is what you just touched on. You guys have a very young group that have a lot of eligibility left, and you guys have a nice little core going forward. How much does that excite you about the future of basketball here at Virginia Tech and who could be coming back next year in 25-26?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was like, it's exciting. You got some young guys, and the future's bright, and we got some hard workers, a lot of really coachable kids, so it's exciting.
Yeah, high roof for sure, and a lot to look forward to, both this season and then hopefully for you, multiple seasons left here in Blacksburg. So thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
All right.
Jaden.
For
Appreciate
Carter
you.
Hill and Nick Brown, I'm Kyle Marshak. Make sure to stick around here in Blacksburg. They take on UVA on Saturday for a 2 p.m. tip-off live on the ACC network. But until our next edition of the Triumph Spotlight, we'll catch you guys next time.